Good morning, Tigers. So today what we're going to do to finish off the week is look at some of the first battles of the Revolutionary War. Next week we're going to go into a bit more detail about these these different battles. But just to kind of get us started, we're going to take a look at these 2 pages from our text, which are the first battles. So the main idea is that colonists and British soldiers fought 2 battles in Massachusetts. Now they fought many more than that, but these 2 we're going to start with. The British soldiers reached Lexington just before sunrise on April 19th. A small group of Minutemen were waiting there. A British officer told the Minutemen to leave. As the Minutemen turned to go, someone fired a shot. No one knows whether the shot came from a British soldier or a colonist. Both sides began shooting. When they stopped, 8 colonists were dead and 9 were wounded. Only 1 British soldier had been hurt. The British marched on to Concord. As the British searched Concord for hidden weapons, more Minutemen gathered nearby. Fighting soon started. The Minutemen forced the British to turn back toward Boston. Many years later, the poet Ralph Waldo Emerson called this event "the shot heard round the world." The British soldiers were in a dangerous situation on the way back. Patriots from the towns between Concord and Boston, as well as towns farther north and south, were ready. As the British marched back to Boston, colonists shot at them from behind trees and stone walls. More than 250 British soldiers were wounded or killed before the British reached Boston. News of the battles of Lexington and Concord spread quickly. More and more militias arrived in Boston. Soon, thousands of armed colonists surrounded the city. The British in Boston were trapped. Bunker Hill. After the Patriot militia surrounded Boston, they had time to plan. Militia leaders decided to build a fort on Bunker Hill, across the Charles River from Boston. From there, they could fire cannons at the British soldiers in Boston. When the militia reached Bunker Hill, they chose to build their fort on Breed's Hill instead. It was closer to Boston. They worked through the night of June 16th, building a fort with dirt walls 6 feet high. The next morning, the surprised British attacked the fort. More than 2,000 British soldiers began to march up Breed's Hill. William Prescott, a Patriot leader, told the militia, "Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes." When the British were close enough, the militia in the fort began shooting. Many soldiers fell, and the British were forced back. Minutes later, the British attacked again and were turned back. The 3rd time the British attacked, the Patriots ran out of gunpowder. The British finally captured the fort, but more than half of their soldiers were hurt or killed. The battle was called the Battle of Bunker Hill, although it was fought on Breed's Hill. The British won, but the Patriots had proved that they could fight well. One British general said that winning another battle like it would have ruined us. They could not afford to lose so many soldiers. So thinking about why was the Battle of Bunker Hill important for the colonists? If you look down here, there's a nice timeline of April 19th, 1775. So at 1 a.m. in the morning, Paul Revere and others warned the Minutemen that British soldiers are marching toward Concord. At 5 a.m., Minutemen clash with the British at Lexington. The Minutemen are forced to flee. The drum on the left was used by the Minutemen at Lexington. Then at 8 a.m., you have colonists and British soldiers begin shooting at each other at the Old North Bridge in Concord, and the British turn back after several of their soldiers are killed. And then at noontime, the British begin to march back to Boston. During their long march, thousands of Minutemen shoot at them from behind trees and stone walls. The British soldiers finally reach safety in Charleston at 7 p.m., and that's when they become trapped. All right. And again, there is an activity to kind of go along with this about Bunker Hill that is included on Edpuzzle.